My name is Dave Ward. I'm a member of the Driftpile First Nation, and I've had the opportunity to live on and off reserve, and the other half of my life has been spent here in this great city of Edmonton, working with the Aboriginal community in different capacities. Now, Wicihitowin, the word means in Cree, they help each other. And we actually asked several elders about feedback on that, and Alvina Strasbourg is actually the elder that came up with the name, and she's been actively involved in all kinds of aspects of not only Métis development, but Aboriginal development in the employment sector. So it's wonderful to have great elders come through and share some teachings and provide some guidance. Well, at the core of the Wicihitowin structure is the community, the grassroots. We've actually created a funding model called From Grassroots to Change, and the whole idea is that we host consultations, engagements with our community members, and we ask those community members to break up into 4 different groups: elders, men, women, youth. For those groups, we have different questions that are framed by action circles. So those individuals provide some feedback and direction and basically form what the community priorities are. And once that information is collected, not unlike what took place with the Your City, Your Voice report, we categorize those priorities, and if they fit into the justice stream, the employment, education, history, culture, and language, economic development, then we assign those priorities to those action circles. So the action circles are made up of Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal community members, agencies, organizations, and 3 orders of government. And they come together and assess those priorities and turn them into what we've termed refined priorities. And those refined priorities provide what I believe is an analysis from that particular sector of the idea of how those priorities from the community can be transitioned and fit into funding models and funding criteria potentially. So once that process has taken place, then Wicihitowin will announce those priorities to the community in a Wicihitowin plan and encourage partnerships to take place, collaboration to take place that allows multitudes of organizations to work together to address these issues and hopefully come up with a proposal that will have some serious impacts on affecting change within that issue. Every decision that Wicihitowin has made to date is made by consensus. We haven't made one decision that wasn't supported by consensus, and so that's how we continue to proceed. And that's been a challenge. People have told us from the beginning that having a consensus model and a process will never work in the Aboriginal community. And we have 20 people that sit around the circle monthly, and they've made it work. So I think it's more of a matter of practice. As you practice something and you get better at it, then you realize these are the areas that we need to improve to strengthen this process. When I first started this, Lewis Cardinal shared with me a teaching that came his way via an elder from Saskatchewan. And that elder talked about a vision that he had where he was walking through the world, and buildings were burned down and things were in rubble and people were starving, and there was no light. And he was walking through this and seeing all of this mayhem, and he came across people yelling that the Aboriginal people have fire. And so he started walking to this large circle that was formed, and Aboriginal people were joined arm in arm in a huge circle. And in the middle of that circle were 4 elders, and they were trying to start a fire. And as soon as they'd get the spark going and it'd start to smolder, the crowd would push on those Aboriginal people, and the wind that was generated from pushing in would blow out the fire. And they kept telling people that if you give us an opportunity to build a fire, that we'll share the fire. And it's our belief, or at least my personal belief, that that vision and that message is about Wicihitowin and a process like this, that it's a fire that we hope that can be shared throughout not only the Aboriginal community, but throughout the world.